Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Hello, you're listening to Radio Lewis, where the music matters. My name's Steve Brooks, and this is Vapour Trails.
To a dance, looking for romance. Saw Barbara Ann, so I thought I'd take a chance with Barbara Ann. Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling. Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann.
Yeah, the Beach Boys there with Barbara Ann from 1965. And that was from an album called Beach Boys Party. Although I think, actually, that wasn't much of a party, really, because I think that was all fairly faked, to be honest. But anyway, welcome back to Vapour Trails. This is number 16 and the second part of the Ramshackle episode that we're going through, basically. And didn't have time to fit in everybody's requests last time round, so had to do an extra show, and even now still can't fit in everybody's requests. So my apologies to those who don't get a mention today, but we'll put them in for a normal show, I think, later on in the new year. And that one was from Marion, who I work with at the University of Brighton. So cheers for that, Marion. The next one is a request for Robert Palmer, who is the bass player in the Dead Sea Scouts. Not that Robert Palmer, the Robert Palmer. And yes, a very good bass player he is too. And Rob wants to hear Pavement, and this is Harness Your Hopes.
Don't telegraph your passes, you'll end up with molasses, cauterizing syrup and molasses. And I'm checking out the assets that attract us to anything that moves. We're deep inside the grooves, and it's time to shake the rations, 'cause someone's gonna cash in. The plot, it turns again, the reference starts at 10. Show me a word that rhymes with pavement, and I will kill your parents and roast them on a spit. And don't you try to etch it or permanently sketch it, or you're gonna catch a bad cold. And the freaks have stormed the White House. I moved into a lighthouse. It's on a scenic quay. It's so far away from the beginning. The shroud is made of linen. The yearling took the purse. The goth kid has a hearse. Heartbreak shaking, earthquaking. Kiwis, they are home baking. Minds wide open, truly. Leisure, a leisure suit is nothing. It's nothing to be proud of in this late century. And I'm asking you to hold me just like the morning paper. Pinch between your pointer, your index and your thumb. It's a semi-automatic. Believers are ecstatic. You see the way they cling, the cold metallic sting. And I'm living in a coma, Madonna del Verona. The harness made of hopes, the lovers on the rope. None is to church as the parrot is to perch, and my heart wide open, truly.
Yeah, cheers, Rob. And that was Pavement and Harness Your Hopes. That was the B-side of one of their final singles called Spit on a Stranger that came out in 1999. And, yeah, I did actually see Pavement live in Lawrence, Kansas in 1994 or thereabouts. And it was a matinee show, which meant it started at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was definitely no drinking allowed. But it was a show that under 16s could get to. And I must admit, it was brilliant. It was a great gig anyway. And talking of bands that I used to love and go and see, one of my all-time favourites is coming up next. That's That Petrol Emotion. And, yeah, trying to keep in the ramshackle mode. This is from their debut album from 1986, and this is Cheapskate.
Virgin moon and a virgin
Oh, yes, I used to love jumping around to that one. That was that Petrol Emotion with Cheapskate from 1986 and their debut album, Manic Pop Thrill. And that's my old mate Andy Baz, who I used to go and jump around with to said band. And, Andy was also the one that broke my nose on the face of an actor from EastEnders. That's another story for another day, perhaps. And also to Raymond and Kieran from the band, who we met up with the other weekend and had a right laugh reminiscing about old times. Next up, we've got a request for Steve Medell from Brighton. And he was talking about the postcard sound of the 80s, talking about things that were a bit thrown together. And this is Orange Juice's first single from 1980, and this is Laughing and Falling. Yeah, cheers, Steve. That was Orange Juice and Falling and Laughing from 1980. And rolling forward 38 years to the very, very present day. Nice to play something brand new on Vapour Trails. And this is a band put together by the guy who actually produces the band I'm in, the Dead Sea Scouts. So that's two shout-outs. Scouts have got this show, so who knows? We may actually release a single at some point. You never know. And and this is Ali Gavin and his missus, who plays in a band called the Ramonas, which is the female version of the Ramones. And this is their own band, Cockwomble, and this is Want Stuff, Buy Stuff. Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? That's the mighty Cockwomble and Want Stuff, Buy Stuff, and that's a brand new EP that you can go out there and find, and that's All of the Money and None of the Style EP. And they're going to play that especially for all you shoppers that are out there killing yourselves over Christmas at the moment. And moving along now, we're going to go back to 1969 and to a favourite of the Vapour Trails show, of course. We're going to play some Shags, and this has been specially requested by Siobhan Britton, who very sadly is leaving the University of Brighton soon. And also going to play this for the little boy's mum, Liz Brooks, who was a big fan of the Shags back in the States. And this is My Pal Foot Foot. Yes, the Shags there. And if you're wondering if that's the most avant-garde Ramshackle thrown together thing we've got today, you'd be wrong. There's some much more avant-garde stuff coming up later. Anyway, that was from 1969, and of course their album Philosophy of the World. Staying in the States, we've got a duo now that never really got any further than Athens, Georgia, apparently, although they were produced by Michael Stipe and Willie Dixon at times. This is the Chickasaw Mud Puppies, and this is from an album White Dirt from 1990, and this is a song called Macintosh. Yay, and that was the Chickasaw Mud Puppies there, and a song called Macintosh. And that was requested by Kevin McVie. And I'm also going to play that for my good friends Amber and Pat, who actually lived in Athens, Georgia for a long time. So I don't know if you ever came across them, Amber and Pat, but you're welcome. And yes, if anybody does want to make a request or just send me some obnoxious message, you can now email me. Oh, yes, you can. The modern technology and all that. So there is an email address, which is Vapour Trails 66. That's Vapour Trails, all lowercase, all one word, 66 at gmail.com. And drop me a line sometime. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show and if you have any suggestions. Okay, the next one I was going to play from 1986, and this is for a couple of people I lost touch with. You know, when you lose touch with people and you just can't track them down at all anywhere, and you think, you know, in these days of social media it'd be quite easy. But a couple of people I used to know from when I used to drink in a pub called the Two Brewers in Chipperfield, where I grew up, Mick Bryant and Caroline Day. And this song's for you guys, and if anyone knows them, give them a prod and tell them they got mentioned on the wireless, in fact. And this is Stump and Buffalo.
fish and chips. I don't want to drink, but I'll go to the bar. I go for a walk, but I ain't got a car. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I like when it's different, but it's just not the same. The weather is perfect except for the rain. Big bottoms swing, big bottoms swing-a-ling-a. Big bottoms swing, big bottoms swing-a-ling-a. Immaculate bowlers, baby, immaculate bowlers, baby. Big bottoms swing, big bottoms swing-a-ling-a. Big bottoms swing, big bottoms swing-a-ling-a. How much is the fish? How much is the fish? Don't mention hamburgers, Harry. I forgot the toothpaste. Let me have the cue. I like your suitcase, Marlon. Hamburgers, Harry. I forgot the toothpaste. Peter, how do I get off the bus?
Oh, I love that. That's Stomp, and featuring the late Mick Lynch there on vocals, and yeah, they were just great, and yeah, do miss him. That was they also had another great song, Charlton Heston puts his vest on. Anyway, moving along now, we're going to have a request from Alan Hay, and yeah, this is a band from Edinburgh who were around in the early 80s, well, 1980 this is, and this is a band called The Pratts, and this is Disco Pop.
Watch the band, I'm a shut out.
You're listening to Radio Lewis from under the chapel to all over the world. And this is Vapour Trails with Steve Brooks. Yeah, that was the Pratts there. And Disco Pope, sorry, not Disco Pop. I had something in my eye. I think it was my finger. And yeah, they were a small band from Edinburgh. And that was from an EP called the 1990s Pop EP. And so cheers for Alan for that one. And yeah, next up we got another piece of very anarchic chaos from a single from around that time, 1978. And this is Jane Z in Brussels has asked for this one, and this is a band called Kleenex, who are also known as Lilliput for a little while, and this is their track Hide His Head. Drugs in the 60s? You must be joking. Anyway, that was the Pink Floyd, as there was then, and Bike from their debut album Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and probably Syd Barrett being his most Syd Barrett at that. And that was requested by Phil Greenwood. And before that was Kleenex and Heidi's Head, and that was for Jane Z in Brussels. And thinking of Pink Floyd and things, I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, who was that band in the 80s that sounded a lot like things like Bike and stuff. And I suddenly remembered Half Man, Half Biscuit. And yes, this is from 1985. And when I said on Facebook I was going to play this, I got so many people said, yay, brilliant. And so this is a shout out to Martin Smart, Kate Johnson, Lee Cobb, Ian Onions and Paul Harton, who all said yes, yay, Half Man, Half Biscuit. And this is one of my personal favourites. This is I Hate Nerys Hughes.
The beautiful, sparkling, healthy spa water of Bath in Avon.
Yeah, Half Man, Half Biscuit there with I Hate Nerys Hughes from the heart in brackets after that. And I'm going to play that also. Another one for Jane Z there in Brussels, who did actually get in touch and say that she went to see Half Man, Half Biscuit on the night before her wedding. with a guy she wasn't getting married to the next day. Don't know if you wanted me to say that on air, Jane, but anyway, there you go. And moving along now, we've got a request for another bandmate, Scott. Hooray! Did I ever mention I was in a band called the Dead Sea Scouts? Perhaps not. Anyway, this is for Scott and his dog Iggy. And this is Palace Brothers featuring Will Oldman, otherwise known as Bonnie Prince Billy. And this is from 1994, and this is Come a Little Dog.
Rock and roll points.
Oh, yes, I do enjoy that one. That last track there, well, that was Filthy Pedro and Rock and Roll Points from 2010. I think that was actually the album version from the album Filthy Pedro and the Carthaginians, I think is the way to pronounce that. There was a single version that's slightly short that came out in 2008. And Pedro, or Filthy Pedro, has given me stage name. Actually, him and his kids and my boy actually go to the same samurai club in Brighton. And that's how we got talking. And Pedro is kind of like one of the leading members of the British anti-folk movement. And is that the right word? And often called the British Beck. And he's taken some time out since that album, but he's now getting back into it. And he's now gigging around Brighton to begin with, and hopefully we'll see more of him soon. Anyway, moving along, we've now got the Ali B moment, of course, one for the missus, and this is from 1989, and this is Cud and I've Had It With Blondes.
so I'm blowing about trouble to the east. While we sit together sad like our fathers used to be. I know a perfect run by the sleep puts my heart. I know my special rider, a good feeder in the dark. And feels like heroin to me, feels like heroin to me. She feels like heroin to me, she cannot miss a thing. She's like heroin to me, she's like heroin to me, she's like heroin to me, she cannot miss a thing.
Yeah, that was the Gun Club there, and She's Like Heroin to Me from their 1981 debut album Fire of Love, and that was a request for Pete Burnell-Smith down there at the Rifle Volunteer. And before that was Card and I Had It With Blondes from 1989's, and that was Ali B's request, and that was from the album When in Rome, Kill Me. Okay, well, I have to almost get into the end of the show now, so this one is for Karen Amston, who asked for anything from Spiral Scratch EP by the Buzzcocks. And yes, this was the first independently issued punk single from 1977, and this is Time's Up.
I've been waiting at the supermarket, standing in line with the beans. Cash off. I've been waiting at the post office for sticky pictures of the Queen. Stick off. And now I'm waiting for you to get yourself good and ready. Make up. I'm thinking to myself, is this what they mean? My girl is steady. Break up. And I've been waiting in the waiting room, and I've been sitting in the sitting room, and now I'm waiting in the dining room. I'm waiting for you, it's like I'm waiting for a man in the moon. I was really small to see the back of 40 king-size cigarettes. Stood up, been hanging around in the murder, but if you just come along, I'd have no regrets. Give up. And so I phone your number, but your mother tells me you're still in bed. Get up. When you get to the phone, your voice is thick and sexy, goes straight to my head. Hang up. And I've been standing in the standing room, and I've been smoking in the smoking room, and now I'm down in the living room. I wanna forget what I came for here real soon. I said your time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. Time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. The time's up, me too. And I'm out on account of you. Time's up, and me too. And I'm out on account of you. Yes, I was burnt out and swollen to see the front and back of 80 king-size cigarettes. Stood up. The saggy rat is killing me. If you just creep along, I'd have no regrets. Give up. And so I call your grandmother. She says you're still in bed. Get up. When you get to the phone, your voice is thick and sexy. Shoots through the top of my head. Shut up. And I've been standing in the standing room, and I've been smoking in the smoking room, and now I'm down the living room. I'm gonna forget what I came for here real soon. I said, your time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. Time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. The time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. Your time's up, me too. I'm out on account of you. Your time's up. Your time's up. Alright, so.
Yeah, as Howard Devoto there says, it's time's up, almost. Yeah, and that was for Karen Amston. And yeah, of course, the influence of that Spiral Scratch EP is just undeniable. And apparently it only took a week to make the whole 4 tracks, probably even less, but it still stands up today, and it's absolutely fantastic. So it's time for me to say goodbye. So thanks to Ben, the producer, and everyone that's a carer and sharer of the show, and everyone that's listening. Thank you very, very much. And of course, if you want to get in touch, there's the Facebook page, or you can email me on vapourtrails66@gmail.com. Along the show, I've been talking about Was that the most avant-garde thing? No. Was that the most avant-garde thing? No, etc., etc., etc. Going to leave you with what is probably the most avant-garde thing you're ever going to hear, at least on Vapour Trails, I would have thought. And this is a good friend of mine who records under the name of DJ Ordeal and publishes his own records. He does it all by himself. He's just so DIY, you wouldn't believe. And basically, this track is DJ Ordeal featuring his beloved, and it's called Tarbuck's Tentacle. And what it basically is his wife doing a chant into a dictaphone. She then does a chant into another dictaphone, and then he puts them all together, kind of splices it together quite manually, and and then adds different sound effects in the background. Now, I'm going to play this is the last track, so we'll probably only get about 90 seconds to 2 minutes of it in. It does actually go on for 12 minutes, and it is out there somewhere on a vinyl record as well. Like I say, he makes all his own vinyl and the sleeves and everything, so it's utterly brilliant. And anyway, I'm going to leave you with this. This is Tarbuck's Tentacle, and until then, ta-ra.
Radio Lewis. Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.